Hi and welcome to episode 34 of Stuttering, Demystified, and Beyond. I am Lori Melnitsky, your host, stuttering specialist, speech language pathologist, and ADHD coach. I myself overcame a severe stuttering disorder and have dedicated my life to helping others who stutter and also those with ADHD. In this episode, I want to answer the question, do I tell other people I stutter? And this comes from many parents, actually, who have said that they ask their kids if they stutter, if they're stuttering or having trouble, and they always say, I know or I don't know. And let's ask ourselves if that's really true. So I have seen many kids over the years especially who will tell their parents that, and when they come to the evaluation, they will be very open with me when I start to tell them my story, and that it took me many years to overcome what was really hard for me. I personally found it very difficult to even say the word stuttering or talk about it at all. Why? I was embarrassed by it. I wanted to hide it. And I just didn't want people knowing. I mean, I'm being honest with you. I did not want people knowing. I thought if I said I don't know, I wouldn't be asked a lot. And people would kind of leave me alone and I could hide. I remember years ago, I had joined a group for people who stutter. I was around 17, and it was the first time that I had actually met others who stutter, and we went around the room and we had to say our name, and even being around people who stutter, it was frightening for me. How could I admit something that I just had found so hard in my life? How could I be honest about it? And I remember actually going to a networking group where we had to talk about one of our weaknesses, and I considered stuttering my weakness. And they asked me if I was aware that I stutter. And to be honest with you, I said no. And they looked at me and said, well, how could you not be aware of it? I mean, isn't it obvious? Don't other people ask you about it? And I said no, because I wasn't ready. So what do we do when our kids are like 8 or 9 and they're going for speech therapy and they're really fluent in the room, and then they come out and all of a sudden they're stuttering, they're pushing out words, and we're so confused by it. And if you ask them what they learned, they say nothing, or we didn't do anything. And then you, as parents, kind of ask yourself, like, okay, this is interesting. I'm sending them for speech therapy, yet they don't know what they're doing and they didn't learn anything. Or how many of you have been in the same room as your 8, 9, 10-year-old, and they all of a sudden don't want to speak at all because they're embarrassed. And as parents, we say to ourselves, well, how can they be embarrassed in front of us? I'm their parent. I love them no matter what. So here's the dilemma here. The dilemma is there's no cure for stuttering. And many really learn how to manage it really well, but there are others who are not at the right age. They're not developmentally ready, and they're worried about other things, such as making friends or doing well in school. So what do we do in this case? I mean, how do we work with our kids? If we're speech pathologists, what do we do with these kids? We're working with them. We see them in the hallway. So I'm going to just answer this kind of generally and say it depends on the child, and not that there is not one answer that's honestly right for anybody. I had a 9-year-old who felt very uncomfortable with his speech. He was hiding it, and the principal had asked him to go on the loudspeaker and do the daily announcements. He decided to kind of hit this head on. We worked on it together. He told other people he stutters, and he felt much better about himself. I have other people who are stuttering a lot, and they're not at the developmental age to do what I just did right now and switch into more stretchy, fluent speech, because I have had years of ways of learning how not to hit my sounds hard, and years of support also. So it's a tough one, because as parents it's hard to watch. As speech pathologists, we kind of feel our job is to really help and fix everyone. So what do? We keep encouraging them. We share other instances of situations that have been hard in our lives. And we really try and make people feel not alone. We try very hard to encourage them to speak no matter what, because if they feel like they're going to be stopped when they stutter, they're probably going to stop answering you, and we don't want that. So it's very important to understand that, and it's very important for us to really understand our kids and let them know that it's judgment-free. They might stutter sometimes. It's okay. It might be frustrating for us as parents or speech pathologists. So do we tell people we stutter? I still don't love it. I do it actually on podcasts. I do it more than I've ever done it as a speech pathologist who stuttered. But when I was in business, I found it harder. So we have to kind of play it cool and easy and see where the child and the family's at and ask questions. How do you feel about it? Do you want to speak to others about it? Do you want to meet others who stutter? So I hope this episode helps you. Again, this is Lori Melnitsky. You can visit my website, www.allislandspeech.com. If you are an adult who stutters, we have practice and support groups. Practice and support groups. I just wanted to try that again. Lori, Lori, at allislandspeech.com. If you are a speech pathologist, we have preschool and school age stuttering CEU courses, as well as a small group mentoring for those who have specific cases they want to talk about. So this is episode 34. Thank you for listening to Stuttering Demystified and Beyond. And I'm going to end this episode and say, always believe in who you are and not what others think you should be. Have a nice day.